Here's what you missed at this year's Black Writers Weekend. On Thursday, we kick off the first day of Pitch Fest before getting into our first panel. Then we end the night off mixing and mingling. After check-in and orientation on Friday, we start the second day of Pitch Fest. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., our guests, experts, and vendors exchange stories and information through panels, workshops, and tables. And of course, we celebrate it with a social. Saturday is a bit of a scavenger hunt. Across 6 locations, we have workshops, panels, book signings, performances, and more. Our final day is the 15th annual AANBC Awards, complete with red carpets, live music, and lots of honorees. Thank you to everyone that came out this year, and we can't wait to see you in 2024. For more information, please visit blackwritersweekend.com. If you're looking for a secure haven within the literary world, you found the perfect organization. Let's make magic together. Our space is specifically designed for African American authors who are passionate about their writings of films and books. It's a platform to stay informed about industry developments. And on Patreon, we'll share exclusive content, valuable resources, and engaging discussions and masterclasses on various subjects, ranging from film and publishing industry trends to wellness and business.
Should be done before you reach out to a web designer, but right now it's best to go ahead and to start prepare yourself now rather than later. So in today's world, we know how important it is to have a website. It is your 24-hour shop. You want to make sure that your visitors can access you at all times of the day. You want to make sure that you're not missing any sales or missing any communication that you want to stay on top of. So if you want to get up and get going as soon as possible, you want to be prepared to work with your web designer. It's already hard to find a good one as is, but once you do, you want to make sure that you're prepared to work with that person now. So again, my name is Chanel Smith. I have been in web design since 2004, where I taught myself how to code back in 1998. I actually started teaching myself to code because I was watching the Today Show and I had a 2-year-old as a military wife. And they said, you can make money on the internet. And I said, how? And they said, well, you need a website. So I said, well, how do you do that? And from then on, I have been obsessed with all things web design. And it's forked off into so many different things. But most importantly, there are a lot more ways for anyone to enter. There aren't any things to stop you from being able to do it yourself. But back to me. I, again, am a proud self-taught designer. Like I said, in 1998, I had to try to figure it out. So over the 6 years or so, I learned, I took my time, I learned Photoshop, and I did a lot. I taught myself a whole lot. And one of my friends came to me and asked me to design a book cover for her. And I did that. And then she had a second book. And this second book was marketed all over MySpace. And a lot of people came to me through MySpace. And that's how my business really took off. And I'm still working with many of those clients today. So let's go ahead and get to this. It's important to be prepared to work with your web designer, because during the design process, the thing that we have found that holds up the project is content. We all are excited and hyped about, yeah, I want to have a website. But then you get to the point where I don't know what I want my website to say. And if you have a product or a service that you're marketing, you are the best to speak on your own product or service. You know the most about that product or service. So you have to come up with that compelling content so that you are engaging with your visitors. Your content, believe it or not, is even more important than the look of your website, the color of your website, your logo. your brand voice. It is more important than anything, because that's what's going to keep people coming back to your website. That is how Google is going to index your website. So based on your content, that's how you show up in your Google listings. Sure, somebody could type business name is this or business name near me. They might find you easily that way. But in your industry, if you want to be the person that's seen when, for instance, myself, web designer in Atlanta, I know good and well I'm not the only one here, but I want to appear as high on that list as I can. So I have to try to keep my content engaging. I have to post blogs. I have to be engaging in all aspects to get there. Sure, you can buy ads and everything like that, but when it comes to your content is king. So in that essence of being prepared for your web designer, though, you want to make sure you have your brand collateral first. Your brand collateral consists of your logo, your colors, your brand voice, the fonts that you would like to have used. You should have fonts meant for your headers, for your paragraphs, because as you look, you want to keep the flow of your content the same all the way across the board. You don't want to have mixed match content. You don't want to have anything mixed matched or anything like that, because you want your visitors to see that you have your stuff together, because it kind of comes across as amateurish when you don't, and you don't ever want that. So consistency is most important. Now, when it comes to marketing materials, I'm not sure people use as many business cards, because most of everything I do is virtual now. I really don't get out as much as I would like in network, but it is important to have those things just in case you do go somewhere. So I do still have business cards on hand. They might be 5 years old, but I still have them. That engaging content that I was just speaking about, you want to make sure that you're using you want to use your copy on your website. You want it to attract your ideal visitor. So some people are now comfortable with writing profanity and things like that in their blogs, but other people might not, and it might turn them off. So you have to know your audience and know that's something that they want to read. When it comes to your images, today AI art has taken off. Some of the art can appear kind of creepy, some of it can be weird. And the really way to know if the art is AI, look at the hands. The hands aren't always right. Sometimes it gives you 10 fingers. Sometimes the thumb is pointed backwards. I know, because I play with AI art, but you have to be on point if you decide to go with AI type stock photos. So that's another important thing that you got to be on top of, those high quality images. Videos are important, but when it comes to your website, you want your website to load fast. So you have to be cautious of how you use videos. The best way to use videos is to offload them somewhere else. So if you have Vimeo, YouTube, or something like that, and then you come back and embed your video on your site, that'll keep your site from being slow because it's trying to load an image. You don't want to get caught up in that, and you don't want to be dinged from Google for having a slow website. Again, your brand voice. Your brand voice is how you really want to come across to your customers. If you are chill, relaxed, and laid back, then you want to make sure that your content brings that across. If you are hype and you know who you're talking to, like for instance, I have a friend on Twitter named the Marketing Bully, and she speaks like a bully, but people are drawn to that. I don't want to be bullied. I feel like I don't want to be bullied, but some people find it okay. So you have to be on top of who your audience is. So you want to speak to your audience when you're crafting your content. Again, this content is king. You have to stand on your content. Importantly, you want to make sure that you gather like testimonials. You want to make sure that your call to actions are leading your visitor's eye exactly where you want them to go, because on your homepage, of course, is your most important page. Usually when anybody Googles you, they're going to find your homepage. And when they land on your homepage, the first thing you want them to see on the screen is the main thing that they want to do. After about a month or two, maybe 6 weeks of having a website, you will learn what people are doing on your website. What's your top page, your most visited page, where they're going, what they're clicking as soon as they land on your web page. So for instance, if right now you are launching a website and your goal is to build your email list, which should be a top goal, you want to build your email list. You'll want that to be the first thing there. So you want to say subscribe to the newsletter. You want to have a button there that says that. And you have your navigation bar with all your page names and things like that. So you want them to click on that button first. That's what you want. If you're selling a book, if you have new art that you're releasing, if you have a new service, now you're, instead of doing brakes, now you do alternators on cars. You want to make sure that, hey, I am telling my audience that this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I'm doing, and you come and grab this deal, this freebie, this offer, whatever it may be. You want that at the top of your page as a button. Nothing blinking, nothing fancy, just a button that leads your audience where you want them to go. It's important. It's very important. We already spoke about the brand voice. And it's more important that I had even considered myself. As of right now, I am redesigning my own website and trying to gather my voice and to come across as my almost know-it-all self, but I don't know it all. I just want to make sure that what I am presenting is my whole authentic self, because I don't know how to be fake. So I might as well be 100% real, right? Keeping it real, keep it 100. So now, after you gather and put all your content together, now is the time to lay out your pages. Sure, you come up with your mission statement, you got your vision. People need to know that is two different things, that is not the same thing. And those two things should go on your about page. Everybody should have an about page. It should say why you're here and what you're doing it for. People find that as one of the last pages they want to do, but you should focus on that page, because that's how people get to know you. Sure, you can get on social media and see a person, but many of us are over there just sharing the good, not all of the bad. When you want people to know what you're really doing, you have to put it in that about page. Your home page is an overall concept of what you're doing with your website. You want everyone to know, hey, this is what I got. These are people who like me. This is what I offer. Subscribe to my newsletter, look at my portfolio, and stuff like that. Another important page that probably recently is something I think is important. Usually I wouldn't make this important, but when it comes to driving traffic to your website, it is important to have that link in bio page. That page is like link in bio, the link tree, and all those other places. You're using those places and driving traffic to Linktree. Sure, somebody might click on to wherever, but what if they don't? What if they don't click on? What if they don't go to the next thing? You're driving traffic to Linktree, not to you. So make it important to have a link in bio page. And then you want to have your sales on there. You want to have any events that you might be attending. Subscribe to your newsletter, visit my homepage, and follow me on my socials. That's the link that you want to have. And in case you want a little backstory about the link in bio, when Instagram first took off, you could only have one link in your bio. So if you only have one link, how do you make sure that people get into your whole website and seeing the stuff that you're doing that's most important? Well, that's where that page came from. You might as well go ahead and make it yours. Make sure it fits your aesthetic. Make sure it is your brand. It should have your brand voice, and go from that, because that is the way that you want to drive your traffic. Now back to that newsletter. With your newsletter, you own your content. So you want to make sure that your visitors are signed up, because you will always have those visitors. Sure, they can unsubscribe, but that is where that's where the money is. You want to make sure that you have people that you're consistently speaking with. So on your website, you have your homepage, about page, service, products, gallery, the link in bio page, which shouldn't go on your primary navigation. You save that for the socials and your contact page. Now that you've had all that planned out, you can either wait until you get with your designer so that they can follow you, guide you to where you can be best hosted and where it's a good place to buy domains, because not every place is good. GoDaddy is good for domains, but not web hosting. So as you can see here, I've listed a couple of places that I recommend to my clients. Namecheap is one of my favorite places. Register.com is very expensive. They might tell you your first year is 99 cents, but the next year will probably be $34, and you don't want to get caught up in that. With web hosting, so let me also say this. Your domain is your .com. Your web hosting is where all of your website files sit. So that's why they're two separate things. And you kind of want to keep them separate, because if one goes down, you still have the other. So if you have an email that's at me.com and you have me.com with your domain and you have email over there, and then your website is me.com, if your web hosting goes down, your email still works. So you want to keep those things separate. Then, as I mentioned before, your newsletter services. So MailerLite is one of my favorites because they have a great free version that doesn't give you as many limitations as MailChimp or ConvertKit. You still can do your workflows. You still can have your funnels and things go through MailerLite. Plus, it's only $10 a month if you decide to upgrade because you want to have the landing page and everything like that. MailerLite is the way to go. Back to the content, of course, take advantage of AI tools. ChatGPT is your friend. You also have Claude, who is also great. I liked my content. Sometimes when I write, I take a prompt and put it in both of them, and whichever one spits out the best, I use that and I work from there. And sometimes I merge them together. So just making sure that your content is the frontmost thing. So here we are at our review. The 4 most important things you need to do. Make sure your brand collateral is on point. Prepare your content, read, review, and stay on top of your brand voice so that everything is consistent. Name your pages. You want to make sure that your pages are named well, especially sticking with traditional. It's easier for everybody to try to find you versus if you use a name like About Me at About Chanel instead of About Me. It's easier to know because they don't know you yet. They don't know your name is Chanel. They just know that your business is there. And research your domain. I kind of think the domain should come first. You don't have to buy your domain and web hosting at the same time, but your domain comes first. So if you have an idea for a business, you want to go ahead and research there first so that you can start brainstorming your domain and making sure it's there. I mean, the internet has been around for over 20 years and .coms are trim now. They're harder and harder to get. You have to be creative in how you come up with the brand name. So here I've listed some of those resources that I mentioned. The only thing that's on here that I didn't mention was website platforms, but that's of no importance when it comes to you as a business owner. But it is important to you when you hear your web designer speak about these different platforms. Wix is a more do-it-yourself type like Squarespace. Squarespace is also a do-it-yourself type. There are designers that do it, but they design with Squarespace and Wix and pass it off to the client because the professional knows how to lay out a website. They know what it means to have white space. They know what it means to make sure that your fonts that you did pick are consistently used throughout the website. But when it comes to these platforms, they all present the same. Your website, you can't always look at a website and tell what platform it's sitting on. The normal person, a designer mostly can. So you want to just be knowledgeable of what's out there. And the domain providers, as I mentioned, the web host, I also didn't mention because that goes with WordPress, but your web host is something else that your designer will tell you about. One that I didn't mention, one web host that's not on here, but it is my favorite as a designer because I like to host my clients' websites, is Cloudways. Cloudways is good because it allows you to have your own server. You're not sharing space. Shared space affects speed. So you want your website to load fast because, as you know, our attention spans are short. So we want to stay on top of that. If you would like to meet with me and have a discussion with me about your website, preparing your content, and getting prepared to work with a web designer, feel free to email me. My email is chanelsmith@web-presence-designs.com. You can text me or call me at 404-939-7501 and take a look at my website. It's it's out there. It's been out there forever. It's wpd-media.com. And I'm here to work with you. And whenever you're ready to get started, we can go ahead and get ready to go. So it has been my pleasure speaking with you today. And don't forget, if you have any questions, email me or send me a text message. I'm